There's a pretty one, Ulysses. There it is.
Hello BookTube, I'm Sean the Book Maniac. Welcome back to my channel. Here I am with a book review of my last 5-star read of 2018, One Part Woman by Perumal Murugan. I read it in the last few days of December and absolutely loved it. It's newly published in the US. I'm not sure how long it's been available in the UK, but I recommend it very, very highly. This novel came into English with some controversy. Perumal Murugan is a Tamil Indian writer from the Congo region in South India, and he's written 10 novels and a bunch of other books, short stories, essays, poetry, and this is the first of his novels to be translated into English. But it was originally translated into English in 2014 in India, and all hell broke loose. Hindu nationalists who get excited at the drop of a hat, apparently. That's as political as you're going to hear me get because I don't know enough about it, but I've read enough Indian literature to know that the Hindu nationalists get their shirt in a knot about the damnedest things. Well, they got their shirt in a knot about this novel, because this is a novel about a childless couple. They love each other very much, but they are unable to conceive a child. And in that part of India, apparently, there is, as part of a festival to a Hindu deity, sexual free-for-all on the last night of the 18-day festival, where sex is permitted between strangers, and especially childless married women are able to have sex with other men in the hopes of conceiving a child. And so that's a major part of this story. And when the novel was published in its original language, nobody cared. Once it was published in English in India, there were riots and calls for his life and demonstrations and death threats. And Perumal Murugan, who was a well-respected, socially conscious novelist who wrote very critically about issues of caste and gender inequality in India, withdrew from public life and put a statement on Facebook to say, I'm dead. It was a literary suicide. But then there was a court case, and he won the court case against the Hindu nationalists, and you can look the details up. But he's come back. So I'm glad, because I absolutely love this novel. So the couple at the heart of the novel are Pana, that's the woman, and Kali, that's the man. And they've been married for 12 years, and they love each other very much, and they can't keep their hands off each other. They have a sexually vibrant relationship, and I loved how that was depicted in this novel. It's just wonderful. Not that it, as all sexuality, has its dark side too, and there's a lot of darkness in this novel, but their sexual relationship was a joy to read about for the most part. And they loved each other. For the most part, their families accepted the fact that they weren't having kids, that they didn't have kids. But the community was disgusting in the way that they belittled them, taunted them, shamed them. And this couple couldn't endure it. So their main motivation for trying to have a kid is so that the community will accept them and stop abusing them. Very little of this story could I relate to, but what I could relate to was that sense of being shamed and shunned. Not that I experienced it in a big way, but certainly in my own psyche as a gay man, I certainly know about homophobia, and that there was really an analogy to that. It was kind of a queer novel, or my reading of this novel was queer, because they took it to heart so much, and they couldn't, as much as they tried to just defy and live well being the best revenge against all of this social judgment and ridicule and shaming, it was too big for them. And so they became increasingly desperate and tried everything and anything that they could do to have a kid, to stop the social judgment. So it was a really sad story in that way. I'm not going to say anything about what happens, whether Pana actually goes through with this anonymous sexual, spiritual thing on the mountaintop. Read the novel. But there are strands of spirituality, mythology, which tends to set my teeth on edge, not in this novel, social dynamics, really richly drawn characters. These characters were so alive. They were not mere mouthpieces for any kind of a social cause or anything. They were quirky. Pana had a fiery temper, and whenever somebody abused her, she would chase them, man or woman, she would chase them around the other side of the mountain and castigate them, and it just makes for really gripping reading. Callie, the husband, he retreats from the community. He's a farmer, and the descriptions of the way that he communes with nature. Sure, he is hiding from the world in a sense, but he is so at one with the animals he's husbanding, excuse the pun, and his connection to trees and nature, and it was just an absolute joy to read. It has an ambiguous ending, and since Perumal Murugan has come back from his literary suicide, he's written 2 sequels. One, because there's 2 possible interpretations of the ending, and I'm not going to say anything about that, but apparently one of the sequels takes it that one possible direction and the other goes off in the other direction as the other possible ending, because it's really left ambiguous. I'm looking forward to reading those. He has other newly translated work. The translation is not stunning, but I thought it was an immensely readable, immersive novel. Interesting that just today I read the New York Times review and the Kirkus review, and both of them singled out one cliche idiom that's used in the translation, which was what? Somebody who wanted to test the waters, and they both singled that out as a bad translation, like too much of a cliche. I suppose, but I was so immersed in these characters and their quirky journeys and their rich sex life and deeply conflicted and joyful and problematic relationship and situatedness within their communities and families. I didn't even notice it. Should I have? I thought the writing was quite lovely for the most part, and I cannot recommend this novel more highly to you. It was just wonderful. I love Indian literature. He was a new writer to me. I'm looking forward to reading more, and I think that you should drop everything and pick up One Part Woman by Perumal Murugan. And I don't have a physical copy yet. I read it as an ebook on Scrib, but I am about to order my own copy because that cover. Thanks for watching.